So let's just talk about my 5 favorite things to complete a blanket, okay? Hey y'all, I hope you're doing well. So today we're going to get right back into the series that we started last week where I talk about my favorite things as it relates to specific crochet items. So today we're going to do my 5 favorite things for crocheting a blanket. Now these are not earth-shattering things by any stretch, but these are things that I enjoy using when I'm creating a blanket. So we're going to always start with what? You guessed it, my crochet hook. So you can't create a blanket without a crochet hook. You guys already know that I enjoy using Yarnology hooks and Susan Bate hooks. I just do, okay? I'm not going to go into detail about that again. I think I've stressed that point quite a bit. But what I do also enjoy using are these really pretty glittery novelty type hooks. Now, this is not a Susan Bates brand or anything like that, but they have the same type of design, that inline design. So I'm going to drop down low and show you a little bit more about this hook. So one thing you will know about this crochet hook, if you look down here, is it has a really nice glittery head, which I really enjoy using. Not so much because the glitter does anything special, but when I'm creating, a lot of people will look at that and say, oh my gosh, that's such a pretty hook. What are you making? So it's almost like a nice little conversation starter. Anytime I do a video and I use these crochet hooks, that's like my #1 question. Where did I get these hooks? So I'm going to tell you, I got these from an end cap in like my local Joann's fabric store. I don't know if they're still there, but I did find a cute little dupe on Amazon. So I'll link in the description where you can get it if you're interested in getting that. So let me just say this really quickly, because I wouldn't want this to be a part of my favorite things and then you have an issue with it. With this hook here, boom, you see how that came off? So anytime anybody's ever asked me if I like this hook, I'm going to give you mixed reviews. I love the hook for all the reasons I just listed. But however, I didn't like the way this was popping out. So to fix that, I just added a little bit of glue to this one. This is the one I use the most. And it sticks right in. So I have no issues now with it popping out. It's perfectly snug. So if you happen to get this hook and you happen to come across that same issue that I was coming across, just put your little glue in there, pop it back in, and then you'll have a great little conversation. My next favorite thing that I happen to absolutely love when I'm creating a blanket is this little doohickey right here. This is called a yarn dispenser. It's just super cute, and I got mine from Hobby Lobby. I will link in the description box below if I can find a duplicate one on Amazon. If not, check out the Hobby Lobby website and see if you can pick you up one too. Let me tell you something really quickly. Hobby Lobby usually does a 40% off coupon. So if you can, center yourself enough to go in, and get out with just this, you can get this for really inexpensive. It's not expensive to begin with, but 40% off of anything, you get the point. So yeah, check this out if you want to. I'm going to pop down and talk about it a little bit more in detail, exactly what it is and how it works. Okay, so basically you would just pop your yarn cake right on top of the little cylinder, and then you could just work the project and it easily pulls. You don't have to worry about the yarn ending up on the floor or anything like that. It also comes with these little rubber doohickeys that go onto the bottom, so if you're working on a slick surface, it would allow it to stay stable. Along the bottom here, what you really can't see is like a gauge. So if you're creating something that has a gauge, you can go ahead and use this part here to make sure that you're on the right path with your project. Super cool. It also has these little stitch marker holders. I haven't found these to be that useful, but I think it's still a neat option when you're working a project to have your stitch markers right where you need them to be. Just like that. And then one other thing that this thing has that, you know, may not be useful or could be useful is this little area that's open right here. You can put your patterns in there. So if you have a small pattern that you're using, you can stick it, stick it right in there and it will work. So this is really cute. All right. Another thing that's definitely worth getting if you're crocheting a blanket, because if you haven't crocheted a blanket before, you may not know that they can be a little bit time consuming. So if you're on the go, you're doing things, crocheting a baby blanket or a blanket of any kind, you might want to be distracted in some sort of way. You guys already know that I love my Kindle. I want to say one of my favorite things. This is another one of my favorite things. So when I'm creating a blanket, or any really crochet project that takes me any time, I'm going to pop on my Kindle, I'm going to pop in my AirPods or whatever, and I'm going to listen to a book, whether it's on audio or whether it's on like text to speech. I'm definitely going to be listening to something while I'm crocheting. If you haven't checked out Audibles, or anything like that, I will link in the description box how that works and if you're interested in doing it. I think they're always offering some type of 30-day free trial, and if I can find a link for that, I'll put that in the description box too. Not sponsored, just letting you know that there is an option for you to at least try Audibles if you've never have, and this is a perfect addition to creating and crocheting a long project such as a blanket. Okay? Okay guys, so another thing that I really like to use when I'm creating a blanket are these right here. Okay, and I know of course you guys already know stitch markers, important to an extent, and I enjoy using them when I'm creating a blanket because they kind of help you keep your blanket from unraveling if you have to move on to another project in the middle of making your blanket. But I do love stitch markers. They're worth the small investment, especially if you're creating a project such as a blanket, okay? Now, we all know that yarn needles and such are an important part of crocheting when you're trying to weave in those ends. You can weave in ends with a crochet hook, but if you do have a yarn needle, it's worth it to look into getting these type of hooks. These type of hooks right here. These are really nice because it's kind of got this adjustable large eye that's perfect for bulky yarn. And I love making blankets that use bulky yarn and 5 bulks, 6 bulks, and these type of needles work perfectly with putting the yarn through. Now I have plenty of needles like this. They're great as well, but these are really nice. So as far as favorite items go, this is my favorite. Okay, so other than that, I think I've listed my top 5 favorite things to use to create a blanket. I gently mentioned the type of yarn that I like to use. I've done that before. I love using bulky yarn, okay? So any kind of bulky yarn. Variegated yarn is my absolute favorite when making blankets too because it kind of creates its own design. So you don't have to put so much work into the detail when you use a variegated blanket. So if you're making it projects or something that you want to sell, or you know, something that you just want to work up really quickly, the variegated yarns are perfect for that just because it kind of gives that nice variation throughout the project without a lot of stitch work. You can use a standard half double crochet, single crochet stitch, and still get a lot of texture and nice and style to a blanket. So that's my suggestion in terms of yarn, okay? Alright, so that's my 5 favorite things. I hope they were helpful for you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.